Greetings and welcome, minions, to a new Let's Play series. Welcome to Let's Play Dungeons 2. You know, at this point I'm a little bit worried I might be pigeonholing myself a little bit by playing too much of these dungeon-like games with the original Dungeon Keeper and War for the Overworld and all that. And of course the original dungeons. But fortunately we're almost out of these games because they just don't make these anymore. And what was that? They've announced Dungeons 3. Well done. Let's get going with this game then, shall we? Right. Dungeons 2. Do you need to have seen Dungeons 1? Not really. This isn't a reboot of the original game, but it is a completely different take on the evilish thing. It's not so much that the previous story is completely retconned, but it's only mentioned in passing. Really, it's not that Realmforge is embarrassed by their previous game. In fact, I think they're quite proud of it, their achievement, and well, they should, because it was quite a lot of work, no doubt. But they did decide to go in a completely different direction with Dungeons 2. And while this is speculation on my part, they pretty much just said to their fanbase, alright, you want a Dungeon Keeper game, we'll give you a Dungeon Keeper game. But only take us serious at your own risk. Because this game is absolutely not serious at all. Trying to do so is a detriment to the humor involved, and there is quite a bit of humor. There's a lot of satire, a lot of industry in-jokes, I would say. Well, one in particular that I know. I mean, I'm sure some jokes will have flown completely over my head, but there's a lot of pop culture references in this game and all that. And, well, to be honest, I have enjoyed my time with the game as well. Especially, not mostly the single-player campaigns. Because there's also, let's actually get into the single player, there's also a skirmish mode, which I'll just briefly show here. There's lots of maps that you can play that are tangentially connected to each other. Now, these skirmish maps are great for practicing build orders and all that. Not as much fun as the campaign, in my opinion. And, again, my opinion. But that's mostly because the humor in this game really relies on scripting a great deal, and particularly the narrator in this game. Fortunately, they've completely ditched Mr. Sidekick. Phew. Thank you, Realmforge. Thank you. I mean, I don't know if the voice actor is in this game. If he is, I did not hear him. Or he's such a good voice actor that he is completely masked himself. I don't think that's possible, but sure, let's go with that. But like I said, in the skirmish campaign, that completely that bit of narrating story is missing, and yeah, that sort of takes a little bit of the fun away. It makes the time pass more slowly. But anyway, enough of my rambling. You come here to watch games. Let's watch games.
It was time. The troops of the Absolute Evil had driven the Alliance back to their capital, King's Ending. The time for the final battle had arrived. Prepare to destroy the Alliance, and with it, all good in the land once and for all.
Right.
Once upon a time there was a kingdom full of flowers and rainbows, where the sun shone all the time and there was loads of that goody-goody, lovey-dovey good people stuff going on. There, the alliance of abominably good people lived in unearned wealth and prosperity. But there was a path leading to a different place there. At the end of this path was a rock. there was a cave carved in this rock in which the absolute evil lived. It wasn't a grubby, damp cave smelling of muck and mildew, but a deep, dark dungeon, so dark that even darkness itself was afraid of it. It was home to numerous innocent monsters, who enjoyed a happy, contented existence, living in complete harmony with their environment. But time and again, the sickening, sweet-smelling good visited this underworld in search of treasure and experience points. Many monsters found this to be the death of them, but much worse, the absolute evil's treasures were being stolen. One day, just as a few more heroes had finished plundering its dungeon, the absolute evil decided it had had enough, and decided to do something new, something quite monstrous. Go to the surface. The Alliance tried to resist, but the approaching horde just flowed over them like an angry wave of axes, teeth, and bad breath. After numerous unrelenting battles, the absolute evil finally stood before the Alliance's capital, King's Ending.
Well, at least it's straight and to the point. And good to see an evil guy being proactive. Which certainly wasn't the case much in the previous game.
After countless battles, the forces of the absolute evil reached the Alliance capital, the King's Ending. The laughable remnants of the forces of good had come here to make ready for the final battle. Evil would pay a high price indeed to storm those fortress walls, or so they thought. Suddenly, a rumble rose from deep within the earth. Stones burst asunder, revealing an ancient path into the depths. Out of the depth of Stygian darkness arises the invincible evil. With earth-shaking steps, the unstoppable evil began its trek towards the front. In the terribly improbable event that it may have forgotten how that works, a formidable help function has been provided.
Yeah, that's the kind of humor you can expect from this game. You'll also notice I'll always do 666 damage or elite damage, I think.
Even the forest could not withstand the aura of the ultimate evil, and beat a hasty retreat.
I do like the whole elevation.
Had entrenched themselves here. A determined absolute evil marched towards them in order to strike them down with its mighty weapon. The absolute evil had discovered a medal. These legendary awards ensured a creature could be made even more powerful. Only one downside. The creature could only wear one at a time. Eyes ablaze with greed, the insidious evil gazed upon the blood-drenched battlefield. Here the last defenders of good would die, and an age of evil begin. Projectiles from the Alliance's catapults darkened the sky, but the Horde's fighting skills were at their best in darkness, if they survived. Absolute evil strode like a war god through the defenders' ranks and smote them with ease to the ground. Absolute evil destroyed the defenders' camp in the west with the greatest of ease. Now, only one tiny camp offers any resistance to the absurdly evil evil. And even that won't be able to hold out for much longer.
Indeed it won't. Now, despite being invincible, we do take damage, so...
And no one could stop the invincible evil.
Well, let's not be too cocky. We will respawn, of course. This is mostly just the intro section, so... just have fun. And of course it misses. Well. Luckily I can pretty much kill everything in one hit anyway.
The absolute evil destroyed the defenders' camp in the east with the greatest of ease. The defenders in front of the city had been beaten to a pulp and defeated. Now the time had come to attack King's Ending. The final battle beckoned. The city gate was firmly barricaded by the Alliance's archers. But the absolute evil would not allow itself to be held up by such a ridiculous impediment. So, go get them! Destroy them now! The absolute evil used its all-powerful magic to eliminate the archers and open the gate to the city. Using its legend, wait for it, dairy powers, the absolute evil destroyed the impediment with ease and simultaneously eliminated a whole group of defenders. True story. The road to the capital was now clear. The absolute evil did not hesitate for even 1 nanosecond. The insidious evil entered King's Ending. A small, pitiful group of defenders stood in its way. Suddenly, the doors of several houses in the city opened, and with a loud roar, defenders bore down on the rather surprised evil. An ambush.
Yeah, that will not stop me.
The invincible evil had crushed the defenders. King's Ending had been defeated. At least, that's what it thought. Suddenly, the final heroes of the Alliance emerged from nowhere. Another ambush? Now, this was becoming very boring. But wait, this time it was different. Instead, the heroes raised their hands and started singing an incomprehensible chant. A magical ritual? This did not bode well. Well, actually, it bode the arrival of good things, great things, unless you happen to be the absolute evil.
Yeah, some victory indeed.
Somewhere in the depths of the dungeon, the ultimate evil awoke. It did not know what had happened, nor why it had awoken, but it longed for revenge.
Well, then let's get to it.
The last remaining heroes of the country joined forces and cast a powerful banishment spell. The absolute evil disappeared from sight with a threatening gesture, and a faint whispered, "I'll be back," could be heard coming from its lips. The absolute evil had been banished, and its essence shattered into several pieces. Its reign of terror had ended. The good people of the overworld rejoiced, and an era of peace began for the Alliance. The evil creatures were driven back into the underground, doomed to serve as cannon fodder for pleasure-seeking adventurers. Meanwhile, secreted away in the world's most inaccessible places, the last remains of the absolute evil were resting, never again to see the light of the overworld. Until today, that is. Somewhere deep under the earth, the ultimate evil awoke.
Right, let the tutorial begin.
And the hand of terror arose, controlled by the ultimate evil. Come on, hand of terror, arise, damn you! Methinks that exploring the surrounding area would be a sensible strategy. However, to do this, light would be required. still not bright enough. An old throne room was revealed by the light. The circumstances remained a mystery. The hand of terror flew through the throne room, following each and every thought the ultimate evil had. After a few flying sessions, the ultimate evil was able to control the hand with ease. The time had come to call forth creatures who were completely devoted to it and would do its dirty work. Little snots were the dregs of each and every dungeon and spent their time taking care of it. The expansion-mad evil hired one snot on the spot. The first little snot appeared. It was completely ready to work in the dungeon and to crawl in the dust before the ultimate evil. Little snots were important to the ultimate evil because they took care of many important little things, such as excavating new areas. The psionically gifted evil could sense the presence of something important that was buried to the south. It instructed its little snots to dig in that direction. As quick as a fart, the little snot made his way to the marked position and began to dig. Behold, the creatures of the overjoyed evil had apparently been much more industrious than it had thought. A great dungeon was revealed behind the wall. Everything was already in place. Doors, traps, a well-filled treasury. Wait, treasury? And where, if you please, is this treasury? Oh well. One can't expect too much of these mindless little snots. First of all, some gold had to be dug out to make space for a treasury to be created. The hand of terror swiftly marked a few small gold veins so that the little snots could excavate them. As soon as the gold vein was selected, a little snot immediately set out to mine valuable gold for the greedy evil.
You know, this makes my job a lot easier if I don't have to tell anything. It almost makes me redundant. Almost. Narrator can't play the game for you. But then again, this is just a tutorial. But yeah, you have regular gold veins and you have rich gold veins, I suppose. That take a little bit longer to mine out, but they will mine out.
Once most of the gold had been mined, the Hand of Terror quickly created a treasury on the spot so that the precious metal could be safely stored. The clever evil mastered this task with flying colors. From now on, little snots could use the treasury to store mined gold. It was then at the greedy evil's disposal whenever more rooms needed to be built or new creatures recruited. Little snots were all well and good, but were too weak and cowardly to defend the dungeon. Since it was not able to defend itself, the ultimate evil would have to hire some orcs. But they would require food. Liquid food. Well, beer to be precise. So the next important thing to build was a brewery. And that would require some space to be created. The ultimate evil had the feeling that its servants were not really putting their backs into the work. Might a hearty slap from the Hand of Terror change that? The sadistic evil encouraged its creature to work a little faster, with a friendly but not at all gentle slap.
Yes. Quite fun to have such a feature in a game, is it not?
There was now an area cleared for the brewery site, and with quick finger snaps from the Hand of Terror, the room stood ready. Excellent. But the recently built brewery lacked a brewing copper. With a sigh of resignation, the overworked evil set about taking care of that too. The hard-working evil effortlessly built a brewing copper so that delicious beer could be brewed as soon as possible. One of the little snots started working on the brewing copper. The nostalgic evil banished all thoughts of Oktoberfest and brass bands. Those would have to wait. More important tasks had to be completed first. Both beer and gold were now available in the dungeon. So it was time to hire some creatures to defend against greedy heroes or whatever else snuck around underground. At present, it was only simple orcs declaring undying loyalty to the ultimate evil. The rest of the horde was scattered to the winds. Orcs were defensive close combat specialists, capable of dealing with many opponents. However, they were very vulnerable to ranged attacks. Payday!
And that much is true.
An ill gong rang through the halls. It did not bode well for the ultimate evil's treasury stocks, for at each sounding of the gong, the creatures would collect their undeserved wages. However, there was little it could do about this, as it was chained to the throne. Thus, it had to give free rein to its servants' desires, for the time being at least.
Indeed. But that will be the end of this episode. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.